Welcome back everyone to our playthrough of the career mode here in NASCAR Heat 2. So finally we have reached the playoffs. We're ready for round 1 of the playoffs, which is the round of 16. But before we get to that race, there's a couple of things we want to take a look at. And first and foremost, we want to take a look at the playoff grid. Kyle Busch will be at the top with 40 points. And we are right behind that at 33 points to the good. And you can see the green line down there right below the 12th place driver of Junior. So at this point, all we need to do in the first round is keep ourselves in the top 12. But we don't want to just do that. We want to start to excel at this point. So we're going to try to loosen up the setup options a little bit. Not a ton. Well, I mean, we don't want to go, full open setup on this thing, but we want to open it up a little bit and just sort of gauge it from there and see how we're running, and maybe we need to open it up a little bit more. Maybe we opened it up too much. You get the idea. We'll continue to play with this science project all the way through for hopefully Homestead, which would be the championship race for us. And of course, our ultimate goal is to make it there with a chance to win the championship. But for now, we're 33 points to the good. Let's come back out and take a look at the schedule now. So, of course, our first race in today's video will be about Chicago. Then from there, we go to New Hampshire and then finally Dover. So 3 very different types of tracks, and I absolutely love that about round 1. If you excel on the 1.5 miles, there's your opportunity at Chicago. If you excel on the shorter tracks, then New Hampshire is more your style because it's, as I've mentioned before, essentially a bigger version of Martinsville. And then you've got Dover, which is its own beast altogether. So with that, I am very excited to get this thing going. Let's head to Chicago. All right, before we get the race started, let's take a quick look at the setup. And again, nothing drastically different about what we've been using all year long. The only difference here is something that I really enjoyed at our last race on the short tracks, and I have increased the track bar from 8.5 to 9.5 inches. Everything else is basically the same. We're up now to 100 pounds of rear spring split just to help out a little bit on corner exit. And I think the 9.5 inches on both the left and right side track bar should also help out and give us a little bit extra speed. Let's see how we do. All right, folks, here we go. We are green here at Chicago. All right, of course, we only visit Chicago one time a year, so this would be the first time racing here in the Cup car. All right, once again, I want to get up on this high side and see what I can do, but not sure how that's going to work out with the AI. If they'll give me plenty of room, we can make some really good speed up here. As you can see, we are passing cars left and right. Wow. We are up to 33rd after 1 lap. Again, trying to give these guys room. Trying to see what they're going to do with me coming off the corner. And okay, so they do come all the way out by the wall. We've seen a lot of times that these guys will hug the bottom of the track even on the straightaways. So we're up to 28th right now. And one of the things that is immediately noticeable to me is how many RPMs we are turning. As usual, I did not touch the gear. I just left it at whatever the default was for the track. And we are right at 9 grand. And definitely not running our fastest laps, either with this setup or at this point with so much traffic around. And you can see we're already at 8,900 RPMs when we get to the start-finish line. All right, we're up to 24, so almost half of the field is down after just basically 3 laps. So our march to the front so far is going quite nicely. Makes me worried, actually, that we're doing too good. At some point, I am going to get back to the bottom. because I want to see how the car does on the bottom of the track, and also to see how much room we can make up on these guys down there as well. So we're getting to what I believe is our first of the 16 drivers in McMurray who are in the playoffs. That's the first of these screens to pop up to let me know they're in the round of 16. I guess they could have been some of those back when we were passing them 2 and 3 at a time. Oh, there you go, McMurray. Give us a little bump. Let's get down here and see what we've got on the bottom. Car feels really good. All right, here's Casey Kane, who is also in the round of 16. All right, so we're up to 15th now. And now we should start seeing a lot of the playoff competitors from here on out as we get closer to the front. Yeah, I'm seeing several as I look around, which is exactly what you would expect. And all right, they're 3 wide in front of me. I'm not. And Joey Logano is just looks like he's trying to get it under control, but he's not having a whole lot of luck. And I do not want to take it 3 wide, or excuse me, 4 wide, as they were already 3 wide. We're up to 14th now. And these guys are all hugging the bottom in the corners. Nothing really surprising there. Giving us plenty of room, even on the straightaways, now that they are single file for the most part. They're not even running the high side out by the wall on the straights. We are not far from the top 10, and we are 10 laps into this race. Again, car is feeling really good. No issues there at all. I'm going to try to get back to the bottom. It looks like we may have our opportunity to do that here very shortly if we can clear the 11. Maybe not, as we come up really quickly on the 31. All right, so now that puts us, we're now in the top 10, in 9th. And Kyle Busch, we're coming up on him very quickly. So we're just passing these guys quite easily on the outside at this point. And I see several cars in front of us, leading me to believe that the leader is not that far ahead of us. Daniel Suarez with a nice run up into the 7th position. We'll stick to the outside, as these guys are pretty protective of the inside lane, and I would prefer to stay away from any potential contact. Junior also having a good run up in 6th, and he needs it, because when we saw our graphic, he was down in 12th, which is the last transfer spot into the round of 12. So yeah, he needs all the good runs he can get. All right, so now we're up to 6th and closing in on halfway through the race, which again is a little worrisome to me that we are making up this much ground this quickly, especially since we're using only the high side basically the entire race. that gets us into the top 5. Now we come up on Keselowski. And I believe everybody in front of us would be in the playoffs, I think, is going to be correct. I can't exactly see who the top 2 cars are, but I've got a guess. All right, 20 more laps. Looks like, once again, Keselowski's going to give us plenty of room on the outside, as most of the cars have been doing on our way up through the field. Looks like Johnson's going to do the same thing and hug that bottom. Yeah, they seem content to give me the high side. I mean, Kurt Busch right there is the first one. Oh, got a little too high. Rolled the wall a little bit. But yeah, Kurt Busch right there is the only one so far that's even hinted that he wanted to get up anywhere near us. So very interesting that they're choosing to ride that low line all the way around the track and not even just in the corners. Like right here you can see, and of course Jimmy Johnson's trying to make a pass right now. But even Kurt Busch was nowhere near the wall on the straight. "17 more laps." Again, things are going great. No complaints so far. We'll get to the outside of Kurt Busch this time around. Oh, look out, we got a wreck up here. Oh, and look out. Look out. Oh, we just got ran over again. Wow, it's bumper cars out here. All right, so it looks like everybody has gathered it back up. As best I can tell, the only car that was spinning was the 7, and I think he eventually got down out of the way. The rest of us were trying to miss him. That is not a situation you want to be in, spinning right in front of the leaders. All right, so now difficulty level ratchets up a little bit more, as we've fallen back to 6th now, and we're going to have to try to make our way back through the field once again, or at least through the leaders. Good news is we got plenty of time to do it. All right, so we're making some good time to get back toward the lead. Of course, as far as points go, a finish anywhere in the top 5 would be really good for us, since we have a huge points cushion. But of course, that's not really what we're after. We're after, yes, top 5s, but we also want to mix in some victories now that we're in the playoffs. So we want to try to get up here and mix it up with the leader and see if we can't get that victory. Looks like Kurt Busch has gotten closer to Truex. What a shocker that Truex would be leading the race. This is definitely his style of track. Coming up very quickly on Busch. Let's see if he goes to the high side to block. Doesn't look like it. 11 more laps. Alright, we got a great run on Truex, and he's going to pull down and run his line instead of trying to block as well. Alright, if we can get a really good run off of turn 2, we should be able to easily clear Truex, and we do just that. So that'll put us in the lead with, I believe, about 10 laps to go. 9 or 10 anyway. We'll find out when we get to the stripe. There we go, 9 laps. As we come up on the moving chicane. And he gives us plenty of room. Alright, now we got 2 cars who are fighting for position in front of us. That's never good, because that means they're liable to be anywhere on the track. Oh, watch out now. Coming through. Alright, as far as the handling of the car, 7 more laps to go. No complaints from me. I'm able to drive this thing really deep into the corner, get back very aggressively to the throttle, and on exit, feels great as well. I know there's more speed to be had in the car, but as far as the handling characteristics, I've got 0 complaints. The car is very well balanced. So, very quick lift of the throttle to somewhere around half throttle, depending on how aggressive I want to be with it. Maybe a quarter throttle to half throttle. And then I can drive it really deep down into the corner if I want. And still get back to the gas very quickly. Alright, 5 more times around. Dylan decides he wants to come to the high side. There's so much grip on this track. Just feels like you're riding around on rails half the time. Alright, I see nobody in our mirror, which means that the other cars are nowhere to be found in the top 5. So nobody around to challenge us for this position. And frankly, I don't want to pull up the leaderboard to see how far behind they are, because that would just make things depressing to see how much faster we are than the AI at this point. So we don't want to do that. I know we've been faster than the AI in the past at this track, but I was hoping the Cup cars would be a little bit quicker. Alright, so we're down to about a lap and a half now. last time around. And hopefully these guys will give us room like they have been all race, and we can come home with a smooth finish. And that should do it. So race 1 of round 1, and we'll bring home the victory. So that will guarantee us a spot in round 2. And okay, yeah, over 6 seconds was our lead at the very end of the race. $306,000 for bringing home that victory. I actually thought it might be a little bit higher than that, given that this is a playoff race. But we'll definitely take it. Up to almost $19.5 million in the bank account. And now we have that a green advance tag next to our name, which means that we are guaranteed a spot in round 2. And if you look at the points, very tight around that cutoff spot around 12th and 13th. Only 6 points separate the last 4 drivers that are around the 12th position. That is very close. Then, of course, you got Denny Hamlin and Matt Kenseth, who are tied for that spot at the bottom. And then Junior, well, he made up a couple of points. So a good victory, or good moral victory for him, points victory for him, if not an outright victory. But then you can see toward the top, about the top 5, 6, 7 are in really good shape as far as points as we head on to week number 2. So we'll bring home a very odd looking Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle trophy. Alright, that's the way I like to do it. Let's take care of business on race 1 of round 1, and then we can focus on having a little fun in the next 2 races. Wouldn't be a bad idea to bring home some more victories. Because the more victories we get, the more points we move forward with into future rounds. So in our next video, we'll be getting ready for New Hampshire, which is another place that I really, really love to race. A lot of fun with the heavy braking and the tight corners, but that'll be in our next video. For now, thank you very much for joining me, and stay tuned for more NASCAR Heat 2.